What's up, everybody? I hope you all had a great Halloween. I'm still in that Halloween hangover mood when I'm recording this a week later, but you know what? I still have a lot of video clips of a bunch of random stuff that I never really got to put into the normal vlogs that I was doing because a lot of those ones towards the end got very event driven. Actually, I think the majority of these this year was very event driven and me not trying to cram an hour's worth of content into a single vlog. So, this is just going to be a one last Halloween video for the year with a bunch of different stuff that I either got in the mail or went to or whatever that just didn't fit in any of the previous videos. So thank you to everybody who tuned in for these videos this year. I had a lot of fun making them, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. All right, we got an unboxing here from Super 7, not a company I normally order from. So I've got the King Diamond action figure. Surprised this is a thing that exists, and I'm very excited to see how it turned out. Man, just on its own, this packaging is very premium looking. Got like the goat head pentagram here in the middle, the upside down crosses. That red is like a nice gloss. Actually, the whole thing's kind of a nice gloss, but it has a brighter gloss on the red. Got a gargoyle there on the side, both sides. Big old inverted cross here on the back. So I think we should be able to take this slip cover off, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to make a mess of this. Hold on. And there is the King. Super excited to get this thing out of the box and take a better look at it. But he looks pretty damn good outside of his necklace. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. That's going to be dope. So I'll probably have to do a full review on this guy because he is pretty damn cool, but just playing with him a little bit right out of the box. I mean, I'd be happy just leaving him in this pose. He's got his crossbones, mic stand, head sculpt looks pretty good. He's got all these like chains and stuff all over him. Articulation's not the best from what I've seen so far. There's a couple areas where it feels a little lacking, but I mean, overall, this thing is pretty rad. And I mean, like I said, I never thought I'd get a King Diamond action figure, so it's pretty wild on its own. Alright, got a bit of an international unboxing here today. Not really a horror item, but horror adjacent, I guess. And I need another hand to unbox this. Alright, so this is from Protoface Studios, and basically a replica of the 83 Cesar masks that, well, I think these are most known for, and I was kind of the jerk for ordering one at the time I did because these are like the Joey Jordison masks. But I want one for my Buckethead display, and I finally started getting everything else together for it. And then, yeah, the demand for these kind of jumped up a lot, and I just wanted to order one while I still could in case they started getting harder to get. But it's a really nice recast. Like, you can even see the stamp on the bottom there. It's pretty sick. And then it came with, looks like stickers and gummy bears, so can't complain about that. Just because I'm super impatient, this was the mask I had on there, which is the standard blank faces from Party City. So comparing the two, it is a massive difference in look. So this is just hastily slapped together, really, but yeah, I got my bucket head with the Herbie in front that I got a couple years ago. Bought a wig off Amazon that I thought looked kind of close to his actual hair. Obviously, I got the bucket with a funeral on it, kind of going off the We Are One look. I know his mask has the mouth cut and usually weathered, so I'm going to have to do some digging and see exactly how that needs to look for the real display. But, you know, as a quick slap together for right now, I think it's looking alright. This is more of an unbagging than an unboxing, but I think we got a box in the bag. An envelope in the bag. Alright, so that was way harder to get open than I thought. But got the Gwar Scumdogs of the Universe, or Scumdogs Live 30th Anniversary Blu-ray. Watched this when they streamed it. It was pretty damn good, considering how few people are in the band that originally were, but they brought back a lot of people. Those that are still alive, at least. And then the matching vinyl. I thought mine was supposed to be signed. So unless it's signed inside, there's a problem here. Oh, never mind. I was just being impatient. It's, signed separately. So, let's see, it looks like Pustulus Maximus, Beefcake, Bone Snapper, Lothar, Sawborg, Jizmac, and Ballsack. That's pretty dope. I was kind of hoping maybe some of the other people who they brought in for the 30th anniversary would sign this, like the not main crew of the band. But still, this is the first Gwar thing I think I've ever gotten autographed. And the fact that it's separate means I could frame this and not have to worry about having the record forever in a frame. So that's kind of nice too. So I got this box in containing some stuff I'm going to be using for a Halloween display. This may be a familiar sight. It's weird because it feels like we should be looking at them from this direction, but it's actually the wrong way. So what these are, replicas of the following busts from the Haunted Mansion. If you saw my video on the Disney Halloween thing, you kind of know I love these like old school effects they use in the Haunted Mansion. So basically the idea is these are just vacuum form sheets of plastic, and they have the 3D impression of the bust. So honestly, if you really wanted to have a 3D replica of them, you could display them this way. But the real idea is that when you turn them this way, it'll create the illusion from a distance, especially when they're backlit. And I think the trick I saw was to paint over this flat surface here, paint this black, and have it white in the inside so you have a defined line between the plastic and the bust. And then it'll have the effect as you move around that it's following you because it's all recessed, but it gives the illusion that it's 3D. So not the best example, but kind of the idea here. Like you're looking at it like that, it kind of can have the effect that it's 3D. As I turn it, it kind of looks like it's turning its head. I think that's pretty cool. I got to play with it a little bit because you can see if I turn it too much, it definitely ruins the effect. It definitely doesn't look like she's looking at you anymore. There's definitely a threshold where it kind of gets past her cheek where it gets 3D. So I'll have to play around with how to display it where I'm not going to lose the effect too quickly. So it may have to be recessed in wherever I'm displaying it a little bit. But I'm really excited to play around with these. I mean, these aren't perfect. You can see there is a little bit of webbing in some areas, which is pretty normal for a vacuum form buck. And I believe there's videos out there that tell you how to like go in and trim this up and patch it so that it will look right. It actually probably be patched from the inside just to make it perfect. But I think for my purposes, this is going to be fine. It's just, you know, some of these tricky areas, I think, to get the plastic to pull super clean, but I think overall it's going to work out well. So I'm still working on getting the stuff together for this display. It's going to be kind of just a random haunted library kind of thing. But the other thing I've been working on is this guy here. This was a boar skull they sold at Spirit Halloween that I repainted and modified a little bit. Still got to do a little more paint work on it. I think especially the teeth, I need to tone those down with some other colors. They're just listed as a boar skull, but it kind of reminded me of those with the Barbarossa pigs, where one of the things they have is that their tusks on the top grow, and then eventually they'll pierce their skull if they're allowed to grow freely forever. Obviously, they breed before this happens or before it gets this severe, but there's no real incentive or way to pass on genes where this isn't going to happen because it happens so much later in their lives. And I don't know, I just thought that was kind of screwed up and kind of a weird story. So I was actually going to put a human skull on part of this display, but I thought this might be kind of a cool alternative. It was all kind of just that normal bone color when I got it, so I just painted up some bits on it and did way too much work on it, honestly. I painted parts of it black, and then I went in and scraped away the black paint to leave this kind of textured, darker sections on it. So I wouldn't recommend going that weird with it, but I think overall it looks decent. not usually the person that goes out of their way to get like exclusive sneakers or whatever, but when Vans said they were doing horror stuff, I had to get some. So I was able to get these locally, and I have the Friday the 13th ones coming later. And I'm still kind of debating if I want the Exorcist ones, but these are just too cool to pass up. Even the laces are bloody. It's awesome. So I got my other pair of Vans horror shoes in. These are the Friday the 13th ones. I think the Nightmare ones are much cooler, but definitely wanted to get these.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the horror-thon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time. Happy Halloween, 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 happy Halloween, Super Shamrock. Happy Halloween, 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 happy Halloween, Super Shamrock.
So I stopped in at the Halloween Express over here. I don't think I've ever seen a Halloween store that has so many things posted of no filming. Like, it was all over the place. So, yeah, I didn't film anything in there, which kind of stinks because that was part of the reason I wanted to go in, was to film stuff. But the other main thing was that there was a rumor, I guess, that I think Halloween Express stores were maybe going to get the new 25th anniversary Ghostface stuff in sooner. Which was not the case. What I did find was this glow-in-the-dark machete that's tagged, it's Fun World, and tagged it like as seen in Scream 2. At first I thought maybe it was like old stock, because I know some of these kind of places sometimes will have just like really old crap that nobody else has anymore. I got a little excited, and then I saw it was stamped 2020, so it's not that old at all. But whatever, I'm putting together that Scream display. That's another piece that could contribute to it. I didn't find too much I was super excited for in that Halloween city. It was really a lot of the same stuff I've been seeing in normal party cities by me, with the exception of that Vertigo mask from Tots, but the weird like hang tag on it just kind of was off-putting to me, so I figured I'd skip it for now. But they did have the Strode Realty sign from Halloween, so I decided to pick that up, and yeah, it's kind of a simple thing to pick up, but hey, it's cool to find something. So just went into the last Spirit to open by me. It's been open for about a week, but I haven't been able to get out here until now. And they had them. They finally had the cotton candy killer clown guns. Super excited. I've been wanting one of these in some form or another for a while, and when I saw they were doing them this year, I had to get it. And I know a lot of people are having trouble finding them. This one actually had quite a few on the shelf. I don't know how long that'll last. I didn't get here right as they opened either, so I guess maybe there's not as much of a rush around here. But that's awesome. Really excited about this. Sorry, I forgot to film the actual unboxing, but I got my vinyl copy of the Halloween Kills soundtrack in a couple days before the movie comes out. Alright, so here we go. Get the burnt up Myers on the cover. Got him coming out of the house there in the center. And just him in like a doorway on the back. The Strode girl sitting there. A big old picture of Laurie with a knife on the inside. And then the vinyl itself looks spectacular. That is a pretty record for sure. Alright, got a decently sized box here from Cavity Colors in mid-October, so that can only be one thing. Spook bag time. So if you don't know, if you haven't seen my previous unboxings on this, it's an annual bag that Cavity Colors does, and you know that there's a t-shirt in it, but they don't tell you a whole lot else of what's going to be in it. So it's kind of like, I don't know, an adult trick-or-treating kind of thing in my mind. So let's dig in here. So there is the bag itself. Looks pretty cool this year. So let's see, I'm going to try to pull the t-shirt out first here. So this is the piece I definitely knew about coming in the bag. So it's like a werewolf. I don't know. They've been doing the last couple years. It's been more of like a horror novel kind of cover style. And yeah, werewolf themed. I don't have enough werewolf shirts in my life, so totally down for this thing. I think I saw something else pretty cool right on the top there. Hell yeah. A beanie with a little jack-o'-lantern on the front. This is cool. I'll have to wait another like 3 months before I could wear it in Florida here, but I'm excited about this. This looks really nice. Alright, so from previous years, there was a lot of candy in this, so I'm going to kind of like, the first time I pull out a piece of candy, kind of reference it, but I'm not going to just name every individual piece of candy every time. And, oh, cool. Oh, the Horror sticker pack. So this looks like it's kind of based off of those like very classic Halloween designs. So you got like the black cat there. It looks like there's a witch and a full moon. I guess there's no reason not to open it. So yeah, I got the black cat, the witch on her broom, werewolf, the Moss Man, I don't know, and a cool little jack-o'-lantern. So there's a nice little sticker pack there. And, oh, they did this last year too, socks. So let's check these out. So it's like we got like a bat on there, a jack-o'-lantern. I'm assuming it's every day is Halloween. So really cool. Man, this is already off to like a great start. Got an air freshener of a little vintage kind of witch. Very cool. The one they gave out last year smelled fantastic too, so I assume this is a sticker. Another kind of vintage Halloween looking thing going with the theme we got here. A horror VHS kind of logo magnet. This is sweet. They include a jack-o'-lantern template in there. That's a fun little like added. I don't know, like that has me more excited than I ever thought it would make me. Oh, that werewolf design from the sticker, we also get it as a pin. Very cool. As usual with Cavity Colors, we get a bookmark of the t-shirt art, some Swedish fish, Laffy Taffy, and banana because, you know, I think it only comes in banana, doesn't it? Dum Dums, a candy corn bath bomb, Tootsie Roll Pop, I guess slightly different than a Dum Dum, some Smarties, a little eyeball jawbreaker or gum or something. Blanket on the movies. It's Street Trash with the Viper. Is that what that is? But it's a bottle opener, I guess. It's kind of cool. I assume that's a bottle opener. Some bubble gum, and that looks to be it. That is an awesome haul of this. I feel like in the past it's been a lot more candy and a little less on some of the other stuff. Granted, I mean, I feel like I could probably make a one-to-one comparison for a lot of the bits that came in here from previous years, but I don't know, like this feels like a particularly good bag. Maybe next year they need to like throw in some shorts or something with this set. You'd literally be like head to toe in stuff out of the bag. I don't know. It may be a bit excessive. But yeah, no, I really dig what they gave us this time. And yeah, I know these things are a little hard to get. You got to be on your toes when they release and get in on ordering one ASAP because they are limited. But I've managed to get one for the last several years now, and it's been worth it every time, and I think this may be the best one yet. So awesome job, Cavity Colors, on putting out some badass stuff. I don't think I ever actually introduced this next clip in the actual video. But the Friday before Halloween, I decided to go to the Jacksonville Zoo to check out their Halloween decorations. Their stuff's always intended to be more family friendly, obviously because it is a zoo. But they always do a nice job with it. It also has a very cool, classic Halloween feel to it, in my opinion. So I thought it was worth taking a look. So for the second year in a row, I'm just getting out of 13th floor haunted house. This one, I decided to do the fast pass option, which is like the middle of the two line speed options they have, just because it is the Friday before Halloween. I figured it would be packed. With the fast pass, I got in pretty darn quick, so I am 100% not complaining about that. It was $10 extra, but it really wasn't too bad. So my experience with this place started very much like in the line. So they also have like some scare actors kind of wandering around the queue, which I think is a helpful thing because it definitely makes the queue a little bit more bearable if you're waiting for a long time. They also always have like really loud rock music playing, which kind of adds to the whole atmosphere here. But there was a group of girls behind, actually no, they were in front of me to begin with. And one of the scare actors was like a kind of like a black and white mannequin with a taser pole, and obviously a fake taser pole, but like it started walking through the line next to us that was more or less empty because that was like the really expensive fast pass or the express or whatever you want to call it. And they wanted nothing to do with them, so they basically ran into me trying to get behind me. And then for the rest of the time we were in the queue, they were cowering in fear from this guy. This guy was just making himself get paid for doing nothing. He just ended up sitting and staring at them for several minutes and letting them freak the fuck out. It was a little bit annoying because they literally kept hitting into me as they were trying to get away from this guy, but you just have to laugh about it. It was kind of funny for sure. There were a couple other scare actors, and they didn't seem to mind those other ones too much. For whatever reason, this ventriloquist dummy freaked them the fuck out. So you go in and they kind of like divide up groups. There's kind of like a queue area on the inside too that they didn't really use too much of, it seemed. But you go into a room, they take a photo of you. It's like a bloody butcher shop with a slab of hanging meat. I thought it was going to be for something, but it's really just so they could sell you that picture at the end of the haunt, which is a little bit stupid to me. But whatever, so that was a thing. And then you kind of get back into the line. The interior did not change much from what I could tell from last year. Last year was the first time I ever went, so it's a little disappointing to see like there wasn't too much different. I think the houses are technically different, or they're all one big conga line thing. But yeah, the inside, I think they leave this up year round. I think the people who run this own the building. Like next to it's like an axe throwing thing, and I think it's just there all the time. And they do run like several events, like one at Christmas usually, Valentine's Day I think. A couple other times a year they put stuff out. So I guess the first house was technically the doll maker. So you're kind of going into a house of this person who's, I don't know, they're like creepy dolls, and as you go through, I think the dolls kind of get bigger. Like obviously they have actors playing dolls, but they also have like mannequins and stuff hanging around. This one, the thing that stood out to me the most, a couple things actually. There were a couple parts where you went outside. This is all inside of a strip mall, inside of a building in a strip mall, but you'd go outside and there'd be like trees and stuff, and at all times really you could look up and see that it was maybe 10-15 foot, probably not 15 foot, probably like maybe a 10, maybe slightly taller foot top to the facade that they had. But they would do things like have trees and low lighting and like a net canopy over top of you that made it seem like the trees were going up into the sky. And unless you were actively looking to see what was going on, you probably wouldn't notice that the trees weren't real trees. It really did feel like you were outside, except for lack of like a breeze or a temperature change or smells or whatever. And you kind of like went back into cabins out, and they had a lot of places where the floors were kind of like rope bridge kind of things. I mean, they must have probably been just enough off the ground that they wouldn't hit the ground, but but it really felt like you were walking on this very unstable ground, which was really cool. And I think I've learned that if you change up the way the floor feels in a haunted house, I love it. It's like a weird thing, but it's like such a nice little tactile bit that you could add into a haunt that I really do enjoy. They had another cool part where you're going through like a tunnel, and it was like wood slats with like red light pouring in from the side, and then there's a mirror at the end to kind of give it a infinity mirror-ish effect, so that was kind of cool too. Peppered in throughout this too are like some automated pieces. Like they have a couple large animatronics. They had a room where there's like a mesh ceiling that would rise and fall over top of you. Those things are important for this haunt, I think, because I felt there's definitely a lack of scare actors. I think I felt that at every single haunt I've been to this year, really. Maybe SeaWorld was the one exception for the most part. I think that one was decently populated, but I feel like everything I've gone to this year has been a little little lacking in actors, and for, you know, a smaller one like this here, granted there's not a whole lot more in Jacksonville, so I guess if you want to be a scare actor in Jacksonville, you're probably working here. But I feel like there were parts, like, not just that they had to rely on the animatronics, but that there were stretches where it was the set dressing that was the terror. There wasn't really anything besides set dressing to keep you occupied. So going through this in the beginning, I was really into it. I was kind of, you know, I was excited. The people freaking out in line actually kind of had me energized up for something crazy. And the change in terrain on the floor had me excited. I was kind of laughing my ass off at all that stuff. But as it went on, I kind of like realized like there's not a lot going on in here. And then it kind of spits you out into this, like you're coming out of this like cabin, and you go into this cityscape, and this was, I believe, called Bad Blood. I just looked it up on the website. I think the idea was that it was supposed to be vampires versus werewolves. So few scare actors in this thing, I did not get that at all. Like, really, you're just walking through a gross cityscape. There's not a lot of cool floor changes. There is one room that was there last year that I really love. That is, like, you're walking over a sewer, so there's, like, water, and there's, like, a corpse down in the water, and, like, some kind of giant rat creature. Maybe it was a werewolf. I don't know. It was, like, chomping out of the wall at you. So that room's really cool. There's, you know, like, corners and stuff where there's like corpses and things, but they're vampires. If they were vampires, weren't really made up very, you know, uniquely. So I figured it was vampires from the name, but I couldn't have told you what was a werewolf, what was a vampire. I thought I saw Master Splinter at the end of it as like a static prop, but yeah, I don't know. That one was definitely a lacking middle, and I didn't really get a whole lot out of that one. And the last one was Dead in the Water. This one I remember liking previously. I think this was there last year, or like a similar concept, but this is very like Mississippi riverboat themed. So like you come up and there is just like a riverboat, like a paddle boat sitting there, and there's like a corpse of a mermaid and some like zombie fisherman kind of things. And this one, you actually go up like a relatively steep ramp, and it kind of like brings you up, and then you turn, and then you go back down another ramp. But the way they show you the facade of this thing, there's a second floor, and honestly, even though I knew I went up and then back down, I did feel like I was somehow on a second floor for a little bit, which was kind of neat. There's another room in there that there was actually, I think, I don't know if it was just off kilter in general, but there was a room earlier in the doll maker that was similar, where like the whole room must have been on some kind of like seesaw kind of thing. So like as people moved through, and everybody was kind of conga line through this one, but as people moved and shifted around the room, it would tilt side to side and give you this really uneasy feeling, which, yeah, I'm not entirely sure it was that for the riverboat. It may have just been the floor was off kilter, and that made me feel like it was doing that. But I know the one in the doll maker really was that way. It really had some kind of moving parts to the entire room, which is really cool. Also surprising that one had you had to actually go up and down stairs to get onto that, so I guess they could accommodate the mechanism on the ground floor. And that was unexpected, because I feel like stairs are not something you typically want to put in a haunt, but fortunately, there was enough people in front of me that I saw they were there. But that one, you know, kind of goes through that. You go through more like rooms on the boat, I guess. In the off-kilter room, there was a guy with like a hook for a hand. I think that was supposed to be like the main dude. Like there was the doll maker and the doll thing. Like she was at the end. This guy was kind of at the very beginning. And then like the coolest room of that one was one where I guess it was supposed to simulate that you were actually like in the water. So they basically had like fog throughout the room, and then like a laser, almost like a laser level going kind of across like chest level, or at least on me. I kind of think like in Alien, where they have the mist that's over top of the eggs, like the security grid over top of the eggs. It was kind of that effect. The room is basically just a bunch of switchbacks like going back and forth, but the fog is just basically at the top of the wall, so you can kind of see where the wall is, but not really. There's like fake tentacles sticking up around you too, and there's like a scare actress popping out of the mist, like she's popping out of the depths, I guess. But that was actually really cool. Like it was such a disorienting feeling, not being able to see where you're even supposed to go, and kind of having a wayfind by bumping into walls and stuff. Definitely a unique, cool thing to say. Yeah, not far after that, it was over, and definitely feels like it must be the same length as it was last time, because it was all set up very similar to how it was last time. But I felt like last time it took a lot longer to go through, and this time it just went really fast, I think. And maybe it was a lack of scare actors that kind of made that happen, because it felt like I was just constantly walking through empty rooms kind of thing. Like, I mean, they were set dressed to hell. The set dressing was amazing on it, but You're walking through rooms with nobody there to slow you down, basically. This is probably the bottom of haunted houses for me this year, but it's also one of the cheapest. I think technically SeaWorld was cheaper. I think it would have been about the same price if I didn't get the Fast Pass, though. Being not that Jacksonville's a small town, but not being an Orlando haunt or not being a theme park haunt, that's definitely something you got to take into account for a thing like this. So it's hard to judge it fairly based on everything else I've gone to this year, but just straight up in terms of thrill level, it was definitely the lowest. I think I got scared one time in the whole thing, or somebody made me jump once, and that was mostly because it was a dark room and I was looking at something else, and I didn't realize there was a person in front of me, and I think it didn't even have had to have been a scare actor. I think if there was just somebody else just randomly in the hallway stopped in that corner, I would have jumped exactly the same, because I was just being overly distracted. So not the best. Not terrible, though. I'll still would consider going back next year for sure. But I also think next year, if I have more time in October, which I never do, but I want to try some of the other non-theme park haunts, but some of the ones maybe down towards Orlando, because I've heard really good things about some of those, and I've just never had the time to go do them. So I think maybe a thing where I have to sacrifice like a Hallow Scream or something to be able to do one of those, especially now that there's 2 Hallow Screams, and I assume it's probably going to still be 2 Hallow Screams next year. But yeah, I got a year to figure it out, or at least like 10 months to figure it out. I don't regret doing this. I had a terrible sinus headache earlier, so I almost had to skip it because I felt like I was going to barf, but thankfully I was able to get past that, and this is probably going to be the last haunt I do this season. But even if it's not the best haunt, it's still nice to end the month off on a nice spooky event, even if it's not the spookiest. I'll see you guys next time.